The 2024 British Grand Prix is a race that I firmly believe is going to be a modern classic in the years to come, and there's a few reasons for that, but one of the main ones is the fact that none other than Sir Lewis Hamilton managed to win his first Formula 1 race in almost 1,000 days. It was coming up to 3 years since he last tasted the victory champagne on the top step of the podium, and of course he did it at Silverstone. Of course he did it at the Grand Prix that he's won more than any other. Now, he has now won the British Grand Prix 9 times, and he's won it all at Silverstone circuit. Both records in their own right. Nobody has won as many Grand Prix at the same venue as Sir Lewis, and nobody has won as many Grand Prix of the same name, i.e. the British Grand Prix. 9 times. I just think that is crazy to think about. There's the vast majority of the Formula 1 grid don't even have 9 Grand Prix wins, and yeah, he's here with 9 around the same track. So how did Hamilton actually win this race? How did he manage to do it? Well, the biggest factor in all of this is the fact that Mercedes' pace was electric during this race. They have been pretty average so far this season on the whole, but the last few races, ever since they introduced that new front wing at Monaco, they've looked far more competitive. They managed to propel themselves into that leading group with Red Bull, Ferrari and McLaren as well, and that culminated in a first victory of the season for the team at Austria last week. Now, of course, they were lucky in that because Max Verstappen and Lando Norris took each other out of the race. I will not debate who was in the right or wrong with that one, guys. That's a separate video that I've already done, so do check that out on the channel if you haven't already. But let's get into how Lewis actually managed to do it. So clearly the car was one of the fastest for sure, and the key thing is in qualifying, Mercedes mastered those tricky conditions. It was wet earlier on and then it got dry, but the track was not at 100%. It was pretty close to it though on the racing line, but they had to thread the eye of the needle throughout that session, especially in Q3. George Russell got pole position, but Sir Lewis lined up second on the grid. So that was an all Mercedes front row. Something very key, because at the end of the day, you're going to help each other out on the start, and having a guy to back you up behind is always going to help. Now, in the dry conditions, Mercedes were the fastest car on the grid. Without a doubt, they were miles faster than Max Verstappen's Red Bull, who was in third. He managed to jump ahead of the McLarens, but at the same time after that the McLaren started to get faster too. What happened was that the rain started to come, and for some reason in those conditions the McLarens were much quicker. Hamilton and Russell both got overtaken by both Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, ending up third and fourth. At that point it was looking pretty doubtful as to whether Lewis could win the race. Now he made the bold and correct decision to not change his tyres despite how bad they were feeling around the track. He was right to stick with them as the rain didn't last too long. However, later on, the rain did start to come down more, and this is where the key things came in. Hamilton was very quick, of course, in these conditions, but Mercedes double stacked, and Hamilton managed to get out in front of his teammate, George Russell. He managed to lose no time through the double stack. McLaren did not choose to double stack. Oscar Piastri stayed out another lap, which meant he lost loads of time, so Hamilton effectively got past both Russell and Piastri through those stops. And then Lando Norris, when it came time to actually change back onto the dry tyres, was a lap later than Lewis and Verstappen. Lewis came into the pits, and because of that faster lap when he came out on dry tyres, actually managed to overtake Lando Norris. Now he was in the lead of the race. Verstappen was very quick behind though. Hamilton went for the soft tyres, which were starting to run out towards the end of the race. And despite Verstappen being on what should be slower tyres with the hards were far more durable. And due to that, Hamilton was under pressure from Verstappen, because this is a guy that has won over 100 Grand Prix. His head was as cool as a cucumber around Silverstone. I'm not just talking because it was bloody cold that week. It was also because he was just so relaxed. He didn't put a wheel wrong, and he won the race by just over 1 second. So that's how Hamilton won another Formula 1 race. 104 victories now for Sir Lewis. Championship challenge is just not on the cards this season for him, I don't think, but the pace that Mercedes is encouraging for them, and also the pace of Hamilton, despite his own personal doubts, which he's been very open about, which I absolutely applaud him for, is going to go to Ferrari on a high, and that's how he managed to win this race. And I hope he wins some more for the rest of the season too, because he's just that much of a legend at the end of the day. But That's how I think he won the race. You let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Is Hamilton back? Are Mercedes back? I think they're pretty close to being back, to be honest. But yeah, let us know your opinions in the comments below. And of course, for much more Formula 1 content, keep it tuned here to the F1Chronicle.com.